last 1 year, I have been fascinated with a new gadget called Alexa, and I have been working on several POCs as to how Alexa can be used in various use cases that can actually help our customers. So today's session will be more from the point of view of technical writers. I am, by the way, a technical writer for more than 14 years now, and have been working with CA Technologies for past 8 years. It's been great to talk to you all on this Friday. I hope I really add some zing to your Friday vibe. Okay, right. So we heard a lot about voice experiences. We heard a lot about chatbots, voice bots. All these things sound really cool, and they really excite us to uh, think how these tools can be used in our day-to-day work. Of course, I am no different. I had bumped into Alexa as one day in CA Garage. CA Garage is a place where CA Technologies kind of keeps all the latest gadgets, and it's basically a garage for, or you can say, a maker's lab. So one day I bumped into Alexa. I, like most of you, got started with the typical what to say, how is the weather, and what can you do, kind of very basic and fundamental questions. That was the very first interaction I had with Alexa. Of course, at that point, I didn't think much about how I can use it in my professional work as tech writer. But then, as I started working and interacting more with Alexa, I found that this can be a great tool to improve the customer experience. So that's from where it all started, and I had a really good progress with almost 7 use cases in which Alexa, or for that matter, any other voice assistant, can be used to ensure our customer is getting most value out of our products. Yeah, as enterprises, before I go ahead, just some general, I won't say housekeeping or ground rules. In case you have any feedback or any observations about this session during and afterwards, you can use the STC India 2018 hashtag, and of course you can also tag my Twitter handle, that is @Ravi Kumar Adappa. So feel free to send in your feedback. Okay, so what am I going to cover? What are we going to discuss today? So I will be taking you through this voice first phenomenon, which is catching up big time. There have been great progress on a daily basis. Alexa, Google Assistant, Cortana, Bixby, Siri. You have so many names, but by and large, at the bottom of things, all they do is, you ask them for some help, they get back to you with what you are looking for. So this is a typical conversation that we would have with another person. Of course, thanks to the breakthrough technologies in terms of artificial intelligence, natural language processing, machine learning, and with technological giants like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they have been investing huge sums of money to uh, get into the bottom of things with voice technologies. And on a daily basis, you won't believe, when I started with Alexa, it was pretty nascent. But down the line, if I look back in the last 6 7 months, the way Alexa has progressed has kind of surprised me positively. So we will be talking some of the progress that voice technologies had in the recent past. And yeah, voice technologies are great. We hear about them, we blog about them, we read about them. How are they going to help me with my technical writing role? Is there a way the content that I write can help with voice technologies? So that's the second piece of information we'll be looking into. And yeah, there is a complete science and art behind designing a very good and engaging voice experience. I will be walking you through the experience design for voice. Uh, Also, there are certain best practices that I learned along the way while I was creating the conversational flow, while I was creating the skills using Alexa. And let me tell you, I will be using words like conversational user interface, voice user interface, voice technologies, voice first. All of them are like kind of synonyms. Please, when I say CUI or VUI, I hope you will be able to relate to the same thing. This is conversational interface or voice interface. It's just the same. Of course, subtle differences are there. We will get there during the presentation. And I would also take you through some of the success I had as part of my research, how we have improved the onboarding experience for one particular product. I will just give a glimpse of that demo. And also, there's another interesting way in which Alexa has been able to provide uh, almost near human voiceover for videos. For the new generation technical writers, we will not be just creating textual content, we will be creating visual and video content as well. So there are ways in which Alexa can be used to automate your entire voice over process. I will take you through that process as well. So this is the summary of our webinar. I hope at the end of the session, you really have something substantial to take home. Okay, so let me ask you a very simple question. What is the best interface? Yeah, someone would say it is GUI, a graphic user interface. It is CLI for those savvy engineers. They find the command line interface to be way better. People will have so many views and opinions about the best interface, but I would simply say the best interface actually is no interface. Let's just see how uh, we are connected. We are, of course, using some technology platform to connect, but I am interfacing with you, of course, with the help of technology, though, through my voice. And when we connect to people around us, we do not have any interface, we do not have any menus, we do not have any breadcrumbs, we do not have literally anything. And this actually is the view with which technology or the user experience design is progressing. The best interface is no interface. This is an interesting book by Mr. Golden Krishna. He actually is a design strategist at Google. Maybe when you have time, I suggest, I highly recommend you read this book. So in case you don't think the best interface is no interface, let's just discuss, debate, and decide. So let's understand how our ancestors started interfacing. They had no technology, no platforms, no webinars, nothing, but still they had that natural way to connect, natural way to interface, interact, learn, progress. That is speech. So, speech is perhaps a very natural way for anybody to interface with uh, others. When when we started working with machines, be it industrial or the soft machines like computers, initially we didn't have a way to interact with computers. We had uh, real struggle to work with technology initially. But thanks to the progress we had with machine learning and natural language process, we are now in a position to talk to computers, talk to voice assistants, and get the things done without much effort. And I'm sure some of you might be using this voice controlled remotes at home. And I'm sure you would all relate to me the kind of ease they offer when you navigate from one program to other, one channel to other. So our focus during the webinar will be, just to relate how speech, conversation, and voice are the new interfaces. I will be, not just me, the world in the direction in which the technological world is moving proves a point that voice is the future, conversation is going to be the most easy way to interface with our tools and gadgets in the days to come. So if for those skeptics who think that voice technologies, these Alexas, Cortanas are just big buzz items, for those who think that these are big time fad, and they'll come and go, let me tell you that these things are not going away anytime soon in the next 1 or 2 centuries. Mark my words. These technologies are here to stay, are going to make a huge difference in the way we work with gadgets, the way we work with technologies, and the way we live our day-to-day lives. They are cutting through the professional work environments. They have come straight into our living rooms. They have come straight into, in fact, not to exaggerate, even the washrooms have these voice controlled speakers these days. And I'm sure that's exactly where you find it very easy to play your music without touching a button. Some general understanding on how the uh, industry is perceiving voice to be the future. You can see that Gartner, a market leader, predicts that 30% of the entire browsing that we do is going to happen without a screen. It's all going to happen through voice. Don't you think that's insane? That's insane, but it's real, pretty real. And then ComScore has another prediction. I'm sure you would relate to this even more closely. 50% of all the searches that happen are going to be voice. People are not in a mood to type the textual or use the keyboard anymore. They're simply saying, okay, Google, and then they whatever they want, they are able to find the information at their fingertips. So this is the prediction, and I'm sure if you just analyze the way in which you yourself would have searched on the web or on the mobile, I'm sure it's all mostly voice based. I have two daughters, and believe me, my second daughter does not know what a keyboard is. The best thing she does is she opens the YouTube app, she will select the icon, the voice icon, and she will simply say whatever video she wants, the rhymes, and there you go, she has her video. So, in the days to come, or I can say the millennials will find the voice technology to be uh, the way forward. So voice is going to be the next user interface. And as tech writers, let's remember this point very clearly. Voice is going to be the next enterprise interface. What I mean by that is all that our products do. Right now, our engineers will have to perform various tasks. They'll have to go through the rigorous procedures to accomplish a task. But in the days to come, they'll simply say, Alexa, get this job done for me. Alexa, how many people have subscribed to the webinar? If I simply ask, Alexa would be able to provide me that. Okay, Google, how many of the people are now watching the webinar? Google will be able to provide me the exact number. So what I'm trying to say here is, besides using voice for helping the customer get get most out of the product, I mean the effective use of product, even the products are going to be mostly voice driven. So for example, this, let's take this webinar platform itself. So if I have a Zoom app, I would simply ask Zoom connect me to the webinar. I don't have to go through the list of apps I have on my mobile. I don't need to go search, find, then enter the webinar code, and all those details will be taken care of by voice. So you may ask me how, in what ways voice interfaces are going to stay here for a very long time to come. The reasons are plenty. Here are some of the highlights. So voice interfaces are great resources. They are going to help customers accomplish tasks. They're going to increase the overall customer experience and satisfaction at least by 10x multiples. So just imagine, we as an Amazon user or a Flipkart user, right now we go to the respective categories, we browse through, for example, the list of mobiles. Instead, I would just ask, hey Flipkart, show me the latest mobile with 6 GB RAM, 128 GB internal storage. And Flipkart would, I'm presuming, would have a voice assistant which will internally search through the thousands and lakhs of mobiles from its database and will give you the exact phones that, I mean, maybe top 3 recommendations, top 4 recommendations, like that. So how does that sound for customer experience? I'm sure people would love that ease, and their efforts are going to get minimal. Their productivity is going to go up. Now, one more important aspect here is voice assistants are great in providing the self-service. Whenever whenever a customer has a problem with the product, the typical thing they would do is to talk to the customer service. And imagine you use Google Assistant or an Alexa to replace, if not replace, to actually supplement to I mean, for those who know how support works, these typical L1, L2 issues can be actually routed through these voice assistants. And by that, I'm sure the support ticket count will come down drastically. And you all would know enterprise companies spend no less than $200 minimum to resolve one ticket. So just imagine having voice assistants handy, providing the self-service for enterprise customers. That's a great saving on efforts and costs for companies. And the third thing, though, for those who buy a product and are struggling to get started with the product, these voice assistants can be helpful in uh, providing that easy adoption or easy onboarding. How do I get started? What are the first few steps that I need to perform? All these things can actually be driven through voice assistants. Yeah, the digital adoption for products. When there is higher adoption, I'm sure people would love to stick to your enterprise products. Your revenue is going to go up. You do not really have to work towards renewing the licenses, because experience, the kind of experience that they are getting with the help of voice assistants, is going to improve the CSAT, that is customer satisfaction, and it's also going to improve the brand loyalty. So the ROI is also kind of taken care of as to why voice assistants are the way forward. So they deliver superior customer experience, and they ensure that customer succeeds in getting maximum value out of the product that he bought. All right. Now, let's talk something that relates to us as tech writers. We heard great deal of information on conversational bots, chatbots, voice bots. It's all great, but how do they work? Do they work just like that? I'm sorry, no. All of them require great deal of human effort. And when I say human effort, it is an effort from the coders, developers, engineers, you can say. That is, I would say, only 30% of the total effort. Here comes the best part. Most of the conversational flow that happens is all driven by dialogues, is all driven by a natural interaction. And you know where our developer counterparts will go to, or who they will ask for such kind of help. That's exactly our job as tech writers. Remember some important points here. When I say technology, I mean it can be a skill on Alexa, it can be an action on Google, or it can be a Cortana skill. So you'll have to identify which platform is going to help you deliver most value to your customers. This is the first thing you will have to look into. Are our customers using Cortana more often? Let me tell you, we all think that Google and Alexa are ahead in this voice competition. But surprisingly, Cortana is the most used digital assistant on the web. Do you know how? Let's look at all our laptops. These days, laptops are coming along with Cortana as digital assistant. And all the searches that we do day in, day out on our machines are internally driven by Cortana. So, as statistics would say, that the most used digital assistant is now Microsoft's Cortana. Of course, Google Home and Alexa are way ahead in terms of engaging with the developer community. We will talk about that in the forthcoming slides. So, I was talking about how technical writers can contribute. Remember, at the core of all bots, at the core of this machine learning or artificial intelligence or natural language processing, at the core, if you ask me, is the simple, structured, organized content that we write. Our content is greatly structured. We know how it is organized into various categories like installing, troubleshooting, administering. We have this content architecture, right? So this content, the current content architecture is going to come handy when we work with voice assistants. Remember, our content, of course, will have to be repurposed to suit voice assistants. How? In what way? Right now, we create content that runs for pages, that runs for multiple scrolls. The content for voice assistants need to be just enough, just in time, just right. And I'm going to talk about micro content as to how that is going to help bots do their job better. And then thirdly, we have to devise uh, conversational flow, just the way we talk to our immediate colleague or friend. So we'll have to engage with these machines like how we engage with our friends close by. The conversational flow includes a human focused design and a sequential and progressive task accomplishment. And I'm sure these are certain things where we as tech writers excel. All right. So, how is technical content going to help us in conversational interfaces? Let's uh, look at these common questions that I had when I started. I'm sure you would all relate to these questions. What are these voice assistants? Why is there so much hype about these voice assistants? Do I need to change the kind of content I write these days? Do these conversational bots have different content structure and architecture? Do I need to revise our content strategy? So these questions are way too familiar, and they are absolutely right to have when you are about to start with voice assistants. Now, as I already mentioned, content is at the core of all these activities.
Ravi, a quick one.
Yes, please.
Sorry for the interruption. Guys, if you have any question, please write it in the message in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bibhu. For those who have any quick questions, you can use the chat window, and maybe we can, in the interest of time, we will take the questions at the end. So, as I was telling you, content is at the core of all the tasks that these bots perform. Let's see how. So here comes an important aspect, the new generation content. It's micro content. It is actually It can also be called a molecular content. So just a simple thing, uh, whenever you book a ticket, the first thing that you do, say for example, you go to book my show, right? You select the movie and you select the theater, you select the show. So if you observe, the procedure of booking a ticket is going through sequential smaller steps, and those smaller steps have content. That content is which is it's a molecular content which is easily scannable, easily findable, and easy to work with. Okay, so the micro content is something that will respond to my question. So if I simply ask, what is the time now? It would say 7:39. So that response that we get from these voice assistants is nothing but the micro content. So it's a just a nutshell of content. And but remember one important thing: if you write small content, just a couple of words or some phrases, they won't be labeled as micro content. They will have to help customers accomplish a task progressively. If your content is helping customer to go to the next step, that's what micro content is. Okay, now when I say micro content, the content has to be actually classified, it needs to be tagged, it needs to be organized, optimized for SEO, it has to have all the basic principles of information architecture or data in place. Right. So I was telling content is very critical. This is something that I found very interesting. There is no AI without IA. AI is artificial intelligence. IA is information architecture. So I was talking about how a bot can be only as good as your content. So your content needs to be written in the micro format. It has to be structured, organized. It has to have all the basic principles of metadata, tagging, labeling, indexing. And of course, on the top of it, you should have the conversational flow design. All good. So tell me some of the basics of conversational design. Uh, I was using a lot of jargon. I was saying intents, skills. So let me just give a quick view of how these voice assistants are organized. When I say, Alexa, ask digital, I need help with advanced authentication product installation. So this is how it all is structured internally. When you say like this, your bot will read, okay, Alexa is kind of a vague word that invokes Alexa, okay. Then ask digital or launch digital. These are some are start digital. These are some of the ways in which you can initiate a skill on Alexa. Okay, and then I need help with. So here, help is the keyword, and bot would internally read that word that this guy is looking for this particular intent of help. What is the intent about? He wants help with what? So this slot, he wants information with a so-and-so product and exactly which section of the product. Say it's installation, troubleshooting, whatsoever. The same thing will apply with a different voice assistant as well. The same rules wake word is okay Google, then ask digital, the same thing you can use, start digital, launch a digital. Digital is here, by the way, a skill name. So the same rules will apply across all the voice assistants. Here is something interesting. I'll just pause for a couple of seconds so that you just digest this information. So I was talking about invocation. That is how you invoke your voice assistant. And like how we call apps on Android and Play Store, here in voice assistants, the app is replaced with the word skill. All right. And then intent. Intent is the goal that you have in mind or the task that you want to perform using that particular skill. That's intent. In the previous example, you saw your intent was help. Then utterances. If you observe, I have used need help with product advanced authentication installation. I use this kind of phrase, but others may have different version too. They can say, I'm struggling to install advanced authentication product. So people would have various ways in which they convey the problem. They are nothing but the phrases or the expressions. They are pretty diverse. So these utterances are something that we'll have to keep in mind. If someone is a savvy user, I would just relate these utterances to the persona documentation that we do. So you can just think of utterances to be different ways in which people would interact with voice assistants. And then there are entities. Entities, if you see, you saw those slots here. Okay, so product name is a slot, product documentation help category like installation, troubleshooting, that's another entity or slot. Okay, then once you ask voice assistants about something, it will relate your question the way I explained. It will internally map and infer your expressions. Then, based on how you would want the bot to respond, it will start giving those responses. The responses are, in short, the answers that you are looking for. Here, VUI stands for Voice User Interface. Yeah, all this is good, but there are some situations where your bot may not be able to respond or provide you the right answers. Let's understand that the voice technologies are still very nascent. They are still, I can say, version 2.0. Of course, they have very recently come out of that first version of the release. They are still progressing. I'm sure in the next 3 to 6 months, they'll be in a better position to respond to the answers that they could not. Just the other day, Alexa has introduced a new feature in which if Alexa is not able to give you the answer for a particular question you asked, it will record it, and the next interaction, it can be after 2 days or 3 days or after a week, if Alexa is able to find an answer to your question, it will automatically push that information. I could not find the information that you were looking for some time back. Here is what I found now. I have learned to answer you. So these are some of the ways in which technology is gracefully conveying that it's now its inability to give the information. At the same time, it's also coming back to us proactively when it upgrades itself with the information you are looking for. So I will be sharing this this slide and of course the entire presentation on slide share. You don't need to worry about the various things that we talked about. You can of course reach out to me beyond the webinar also through Twitter and LinkedIn accounts. Okay, so moving on. So, all right. So voice is going to be the future. Voice is going to improve the customer experience. These digital assistants are going to improve the ROI. All these are great. But do I need to jumpstart with the voice for my business needs? I would say just go through this process first. I would want each of you to analyze and assess if going voice is uh, helpful or not through this process. So please ask yourselves this question: is voice the right fit for my business? I am a technical writer. Right now, I'm working on, say, API documentation. If I can replace the voice, the textual information with voice, is it going to help my customers? Is it going to deliver better value? So we need to ask all those questions. The point to be noted here, not all content can be voice fit. Not all information can be voice fit. I'll give a simple example. Imagine there is a code, some lines of code that people will have to execute. Do you think voice will help in such a context? I would say no. Instead, of course, yes. You can find a multimodal approach here, in which when a customer asks for such command or such code element, you can say this code will help you perform this task. I'm sending you a card to your Alexa app. Maybe you can just copy that code string from the app. So there are some occasions where voice may not be a best fit. Please keep that in mind. And as writers, this is something we need to do to be voice ready. So we'll need to understand what are these bots, how are they structured, what can make a great bot, uh, what can deliver better value to our customers. It requires a lot of learning. We'll have to understand how, I mean, the framework of bots. I was talking about the intents, actions, slots, utterances. So we'll have to know thoroughly about the framework of how these voice assistants work. Okay, so mere learning about these voice assistants is enough? I'm sorry, no. You will have to map that learning to your customer needs. And you need to, as writer, I'm sure you would understand your customer requirements. Also, you'll have to come up with top 10 use cases in which voice can help. So I worked previously on a mainframe product which has more than 15,000 error messages. You won't believe that that one error guide itself would be no less than some 4,000 pages. So it's a great difficulty for our customers to skim through that huge load of content to find out the respective error that they ran into, and also find out the remedial actions. Instead, imagine such a situation where we use voice. uh, okay, we will simply say, Alexa, I need help with error message, and then Alexa would say, tell me about the error code that you see on your machine. And you will say error code 404 as example. Then Alexa would internally go through your content base, those 4,000 odd pages. It would go exactly find the answer. This 404 error is due to so and so reason, and you can fix it by tweaking this component. So there are such use cases where voice can be great help. Now, another important piece of point to remember: is our current content voice ready? I think in its current shape and form and length, it is nowhere close to be voice ready. We take great pride in writing long scroll, long tail content. Please, for voice assistants, it is a molecule of content that's going to help. So we will have to repurpose the content into smaller pieces of information, because bots will understand only the micro content. The longer the page, the higher density the words. Now, the higher the density of words, the more confusing the bot can get. So it's always better to use smaller chunks of content, just like our FAQ content, for example, or KB article, knowledge base articles content. Here is a quick example that I thought I would show you as example. So I used this example of micro content to define what micro content is. So it has to be a small, concise form of content that answers the user's question. Always remember, it has to move customer from point A to point B. If it can move the customer progressively, yes, that is something the quality of a good micro content is. So I also just quickly have some content. What is an intent? So you can just see what is a slot, what is an Alexa skill. They are just small atoms of content, very, very small, but they still do the job that they are intended to. So what's an Alexa skill? It's an app for Alexa. What is Google Action? It's an app for OK Google. So of course, this is a very simple example, and I'm sure our content, especially for the enterprise products that we write for, is very difficult to transform into such granular micro content. But remember, we will have to start that journey sooner or later. We'll have to create new content stack. You call it precise content, you call it micro content, you call it intelligent content, whatever be the name. We should come up with smaller pieces of information that will answer the questions of customers. All right. So the first 3 steps we analyzed if our voice is the right fit. Then we understood the voice basics, the framework, conversational flow, and its structure. And then we will have to analyze our own content. We will have to make necessary amends in our content structure, format, and size. On top of all of it comes an important piece now. We'll have to write the conversational flow. I'll give you a simple example here. We'll have to create dialogues. Take a look at this. This is the basic conversational flow. So as a user, you can say your request is, I want to book a ticket. Okay, that's something that you want to do. Then what would Alexa say? Welcome to the ticket booking thing. I can help you book your ticket. And remember, when you write for conversational flow, it's always important to drive the conversation to next step. Which movie would you like to watch today? Okay, then user would say, I would like to watch this new movie, Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible is screened in 3 theaters near you. And then theater A, theater B, theater C. Which one do you select? So that's how the entire conversation flow can be created. For those who write conversations, write dialogues, for those who read this book, Grant Taylor's English in Use, that's a great resource as to how one-to-one conversations happen. I find that book to be really helpful while devising the conversational flow. We'll have to create sample dialogues. Entire flow has to be clearly jotted down. And more importantly, we have to do a role play. When I started, I had one developer colleague who I was taking help from. I used to write the entire conversational flow. Then we used to together, I will be playing the role of Alexa for a while, and he will be the user. We used to switch roles. We had to do that role play of entire conversation. And how that helped us. When we did that, it helped us understand where there is no progression, what better can be done. And that is how we came up with the remark. For each step of conversation, we have remarks. We used to jot down the remarks. This sentence, this dialogue needs to be improved. This dialogue from Alexa is not taking the user to next step. So this is how we have created the complete conversational flow. And we will have to, of course, do multiple iterations to improve. Once we create the complete conversational flow, we will have to do a thorough testing, and we'll have to, of course, do the usability testing. I used to randomly ping some of my close friends, asking them to play the role of, say, Alexa, or I would tell them, I'll be your Alexa, you shoot across. This is the situation. How would you talk to Alexa if you want help? So that kind of usability testing, and when I say usability testing, remember, it has to have people from diverse backgrounds. One can be an engineer, one can be a writer, another one can be a product manager. So I kind of involved multiple job roles just to get a different perspective. And believe me, every time I spoke to a new person, it has helped me improve my conversational flow. It has actually helped me reach from step A to Z quicker than I thought of doing. So we'll have to involve different people, different categories of people, so that we get the best results in the shortest possible manner. I was telling you about the basic conversational flow. There is an important piece I want to bring up here. If you are booking a cab or a ticket or a table or ordering something on Zomato, they are pretty straightforward. They have one niche task to be accomplished. So for such things, basic conversational flow will be good enough. But when you write for enterprise products, you need to have an important element. You'll have to get the context right. What do I mean by context? It can be if the so and so product component. It can be so and so say task. It's very important for advanced conversational flow to work on the state management. I'll give a simple example. Uh, the first time when you start working with an Alexa skill, this is how it goes. Hi Alexa, can you help me book the room? Hey, hi. This seems to be your first time using this skill. How may I address you? You can call me Ravi. So that's how the conversation can begin, and every subsequent interaction after that, it would start calling you by name. So this is a very good example of personalization. Not just personalization, all the subsequent conversations will have mapping to the context. I'll take you through some more examples. So you have to try a pilot. You have to start very small. Identify, say, for example, people have problems with the troubleshooting content. Choose only that piece where users have most pain. When we do these NPS, Net Promoter surveys, we understand that customers find it really difficult in search, especially on content, product documentation. Search is one such huge area where customers really struggle. So as I was going through the NPS survey for some of the products at CA, I figured out that search is an area that we need to fix. So we'll have to, once you identify that, you'll have to come up with ways in which voice can actually enhance that search experience. So one of the POCs I did was around content search and findability. I'll take you through that in the coming slides. Once you are done, you'll have to launch on one platform. It can be on Siri, on Cortana, or Alexa, or wherever. You have to start with one platform, and as you see the traction, you can reach out to other platforms. All the skills that we write have great analytics information. In fact, in the entire conversational flow that we have here, every single utterance can be tracked. Every single intent can be tracked and analyzed. So when I looked at these analytics, they kind of gave me completely new insights, and they helped in improving the conversational flow in toto. Yeah, this I found very interesting. This is actually from Google Design. Always remember, you have to start with the head. Okay, something that has most users, most important. Okay, so this analysis we need to do ourselves. I was just telling about one of the head items I ran into, that is search. So that's one problem area for customers. Then that's where I started actually. So in your business case, it could be a different problem. So analyze, listen to your customer's voice, analyze those problems, and then the biggest problem is something that should be your starting point with voice. Okay. I can take one or two quick questions just to.
Yeah, we have two questions, Ravi. You can see in the chat panel. Or do you want me to read the question?
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah, how much impact can chatbot have on technical writing?
Okay, let me answer this different way. As technical writers, what is our core or the quintessential purpose of our job? We are here to support our customers. We are here to help our customers use the products effectively, right?
Correct.
Right. So if you want our customers to be more productive, more efficient, they should be able to get the information they are looking for with least effort. And for such things, voice is a great fit. Okay. And the voice assistants are, in fact, the best way, best experience that we can offer to our customers. Next question, please.
The second question. I have heard the chatbots work in a very controlled environment. They won't be able to respond to the different languages. If I type Hindi in phonetic English, the
Mhm.
bot might not be able to identify it. Is it true?
Right. I told you in one of the slides, your bots are just like your kids. I mean, what they see, what they observe is what they become. So bots will take a lot of feeding in the form of content, in the form of utterances, intents. They'll take inputs,
Okay.
and if they see something suddenly new, they will not be able to respond. But that is in which case you will have to come up with a fallback mechanism. What do I mean by fallback mechanism? We can say, currently I am not able to answer your question. That's one way to respond. Or you can say, uh, I do not understand your expression, maybe you can try this expression 1, 2, 3. So even when customers come up with such vague, surprising questions, you can still take the control back by giving them or by prompting them some of the phrases that they can use.
Yeah.
So
So
fallback mechanism is something we will need to look into.
correct. So does it answer your question, Rujita? Today, before starting the webinar, I was trying if Google Assistant can welcome the participants. So I told Google Assistant, say, okay, Google, can you welcome the audience of this webinar? So I got the response, not sure, not sure.
Right. Because you haven't given any inputs to your Google Assistant.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. In fact, in one of the recent regional conferences, we we taught Alexa to introduce the keynote speaker that day.
Okay.
Okay. How did we teach? You may ask. See, Alexa has something called custom skill. Alexa comes up with a lot of skills that are pre-built by developers, by even writers like you and me. And it also comes up with an option for you to create skills. So all the discussion that I am doing is around creating a custom skill on Alexa or even Google Actions. So we should create that custom skill and say, can you introduce the users? Can you introduce the audience or the speaker? So based on your utterance, it will read the response that you trained it for.
All right.
Okay. So you need to create custom skill, Bibu.
Okay, Ravi, I will do that. So
No,
Ravi, we have 4 more questions. Would you like to take the questions now or
we will take it at the end.
fine? Sure.
Yeah. So far we understood how the conversational design happens, and there are some best practices that we need to look into. Let's see. So this is going to answer some of the questions they might have asked. Uh, Always remember, you have to set the right expectations in life or with skills. Uh, your skill, when you ask Alexa, introduce this skill, it should tell you, welcome to the skill. I will be able to help you with so and so. Uh, just give me a second. I'll give my Alexa to do something quickly. Alexa, ask demo.
Hi, welcome to Demo Digital. I'm your product experience assistant. For a list of commands anytime, you can say ask Demo Digital.
Alexa, stop. So you heard it right. When you launch the skill should tell you what it is about. It should also clearly state what all it can do. So that should be that, this helps in setting the right expectations with users. All right. Now, the second example is guided conversation. I told you that, each of the dialogue that you write should take customers from step 1 to 2, 2 to 3. If they are not able to go progressively, you should drive them. Vibhu, you asked how would it help with the steps. Let me just give an example here. If you ask something that Alexa is not able to understand, let's see how it goes. Alexa, ask demo.
Hi, welcome to Demo Digital.
Alexa.
I'm your product experience assistant.
Alexa.
For a list of commands anytime, you can say ask Demo Digital.
Alexa, ask help.
Undefined.
Okay. So when you have trained your app, your bot, your skill to respond in some way, but if the response from customer is different, then what? Alexa can simply say undefined, and it should also continue to say, I can actually help you accomplish this task. Shall I help you with that? So that's how Alexa can take the control back. Okay. Now, thirdly, we'll have to keep it real and sequential. I'll give one example. Alexa, ask demo.
Hi, welcome to Demo Digital.
Alexa.
I'm your product experience assistant. For a list of commands anytime, you can say ask Demo Digital.
Alexa, test connection failed.
That's bad. I can help you debug and fix this error. Take a minute to check your credentials first.
The credentials are correct, but the error is still there.
Undefined.
The credentials are correct, but the error persists.
Undefined.
Okay, that's Alexa's idiosyncrasies. It would ideally respond, credentials are fine, but then go check the connectivity. It would give you the second step to debug that particular problem. Okay, so you have to talk about only one piece of information at a time, and you will have to also prompt the user to go to the next step. When the user is lost, always you have to provide that graceful exit, graceful way to bring him back to the conversation. Okay, by offering help. And I was talking about how Alexa is nowadays handling the errors. So it actually apologizes that it is still learning and it's not able to help at this point, and it can take people back to step 1 or step 2, step 3. Okay, I have some examples to take to showcase. I will show them in the next few slides. So these are some of the best practices. These are at a very high level. The point I want to emphasize here is when you sit down to write the dialogues, what you would say, what Alexa would say, when you go to that particular situation, I'm sure you would be able to relate to these best practices in a much, much better manner. And here come a lot of suggestions, of course. So points to be remembered here. We have to get the most important information first when the skill starts, or in the first 2-3 levels of conversation itself. It should clearly state what it is doing and what it cannot also, if possible, it can articulate. Okay, so that's what it is, what it can do and what it cannot also, it should be in a position to help. Always remember, if there is a choice, let's say I want to order a pizza. I want, let's, for example, would you like a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian pizza? This would be a very good do. Instead of the don't, we offer vegetarian and non-vegetarian, and that's where the conversation ends. It's not giving user an option to choose from option 1 and option 2. So always have one response, always keep it with choice. It has to be time and task linear. What do I mean by time and task linear? Exactly what I told you. So you would say a non-vegetarian pizza, for example. So after that, it would ask you for various toppings, non-vegetarian toppings. In the previous slides, we talked about context also, right? So the minute you select non-vegetarian as your option, your toppings, your list of other garnishing items will be related to non-vegetarian only, right? So that's what I mean by context and task linearity. Also avoid long prompts, long conversations. According to a recent survey, people's attention span, especially with listening, is lower than when compared to reading. So people will not be able to take anything in beyond 14 seconds. This is a research on the voice assistants. Of course, it applies to our life also. When someone talks for way too long in our day-to-day conversations, our attention span will slowly go down. I mean, the other party. Also, you need to offer shortcuts, pauses. Imagine a situation where you ask Alexa for something, and Alexa, I didn't quite get that. Can you repeat? Okay, so such ways in which it can ask you to repeat what you said. Also, if you say, I book a ticket for me for Mission Impossible, did you say Mission Impossible? It can ask for confirmation. Okay, and once you go through the selection of the movie, selection of the theater, selection of the show, at the end it can summarize saying, so I have booked 2 tickets for Mission Impossible for 7 o'clock show this Saturday. And then is that okay? It should always take affirmation and confirmation from its user. So that's what I mean by offering summaries. Okay, here are some use cases where I have personally had some progress. The first one is onboarding experience. So for most of the enterprise products, considering their architecture and interconnection between various components and the various app servers, database servers, integration, uh, product onboarding was a big pain for our customers. So that's where I thought, what if Alexa can be used to drive customers for entire process of installing and upgrading. So for this, I created a template which talks about pre, while, and post installation steps. And at each step, we kind of did the customer journey mapping. For example, when someone is selecting MS SQL, does he need to do some changes to the default settings? Does he have to provide any extra credentials? So all such minor micro movements have been taken care of, and uh, we created this entire journey, pre, while, post, install and upgrade, which also covers errors that they might run into. Also the just-in-time tips, if they select so and so, they'll have to change the character set into Alt 32. So all those minor granular changes we were able to help with the form of Alexa. This onboarding experience is something that I actually started with. I gave a demo during the last STC India conference. The video of it is available on YouTube. Uh, of course, from there we had a lot of progress. Maybe I will post the latest video as well once we are done with this. Then the second one is the self-service troubleshooting. Uh, this is a typical case where uh, customer would ask for help and we would provide the help. If he is happy, he would, Alexa would say goodbye. If customer does not find the answer to be helpful, uh, this is how the conversation will go. Are you happy with the resolution? Customer would say no. Then Alexa would ask, would you like me to create a support ticket? The customer would say yes. Then Alexa would send the ticket ID. Here is your ticket ID, and I will post you when there is an update. Not only it raises the ticket on customer's behalf, it will also follow up as and when there is a progress on the ticket. So that is the second use case we had. Thirdly, this actually I should thank my developer friends here. Was of course all the other use cases also I could have success because of these developer friends, Mr. Kiran and Srinath Reddy. But I would say this third and fourth are biggest breakthroughs in content search and discovery. I'll tell you how. So in first two cases, the conversational flow was pretty linear, pretty straightforward. So onboarding, pre-install, step 1, 2, 3, 4, we sequenced everything. And the responses from Alexa also, we kind of documented. And it was working fine. But what if customer would want information randomly? He doesn't want information. He doesn't want to perform all the steps in a linear fashion. He wants one piece of information from anything. Can be configuring, can be installing, can be whatsoever. So in such case, it was quite a challenge. Initially, we tried multiple approaches to provide answer. Ultimately, we found that Google API, Google Search API was the way to go. Let me tell you how it works. Google API, when people want information, what do? They go to Google, they search for information. So what we did, we created one custom search engine, which is limited to my product content using Google search. There is something called a custom search engine, Google. If you simply Google for it, it will tell you how it can be used, or maybe at a later point, I can blog about it. So we created one custom search engine. We limited that to our product. Right now, I'm working for a security product, advanced authentication. And then we mapped that custom search engine to Alexa. So when I say, Alexa, I need information for this, it would ask, what sort of information are you looking for? Then you'll have to give the input. The input is taken as a text string, and it searches through the content base, and it provides the answer. I'll just give you one simple example here. Alexa, in the meantime, we can take one or two questions.
I think Alexa is hungry now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have many questions lined up. So Nibu asks, the answer to the question that we ask, are they programmed or are they intelligent?
Yeah, the first two use cases, as I said, they are programmed. The third and fourth use cases, that's where the intelligence comes in. They are not programmed. Their content is not predefined. They provide you the answers based on the request that they get from customer.
Okay.
So onboarding and troubleshooting are kind of programmed.
All right. Hope that answers your question, Nebu. Then, how do we anticipate all possible scenarios when there are many possible branches?
Right. This is where you actually can leverage the language libraries that are pre-built. So both Alexa and Google have language libraries. So suppose you say yes, someone else would say yeah. Someone else would say yep. So thanks to the pre-built language libraries, where these general phrases are handled efficiently.
All right.
And you can alternatives like it is successful. I would say the installation is successful. Someone else would say installation is complete. Someone else would say I am done with installation. So these are multiple approach phrases that we can anticipate. But no, people are different. They use different phrases. So whenever they use a phrase that's new but would still mean the same, this voice assistant should record such phrases and add to their library. At this point, it's not happening. But I think very soon, that is an enhancement request with Alexa. I'm sure it would be included anytime soon.
Okay. Next question. Uni, I'm not sure if I pronounce it properly. Uni, E-U-G-E-N-E. Uni Goodsman is a chatbot touted to have passed the Turing test. So, as technical writer and while writing for conversational UIs, is it a cause for worry?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Uni Goodsman is a chatbot thought to have passed the Turing test. So,
Okay.
as technical writer and while writing for conversational UIs, is it a cause for worry?
It is certainly not a cause for worry. It is going to only make our job easier. It's only a complementary thing at this point. It's not going to create the kind of quality content that you and I write anytime soon. So it's certainly not a cause of worry. It's only going to be supplemental by nature. It's only going to make our job easier.
So sorry to interrupt. Actually, I didn't get the question. What does he mean? Can you please let us know even what is the question about, Ravi?
The way I understood is with voice technologies taking over, would our jobs be at risk, or that's what I understood. I could be wrong.
So let me read it once again. That says,
Bibhu,
yeah,
we will take it offline. Yeah, maybe we can reach out to that gentleman.
Sure. We have two more questions.
Yeah.
When you ask more details on a certain subject, can we share the corresponding topic on the chatbot, like how OK Google shows URL on the connected mobile Google Home?
Right. Yes, both Google and Alexa have this feature. There is a way in which Alexa will provide information. So that's my daughter's using Alexa.
Oh, great.
Okay, see if you can see this. I will just give me a second. Okay. So like this, Alexa would send pieces of information to the app.
Okay.
So you can see this particular example. I was asking Alexa for the keyword. I was talking about this 3 and 4, right? Using the Google search engine.
Yes.
Custom search engine. So I will ask Alexa, search. What is the information you are looking for? Then this is the input string. Okay, and Alexa would respond saying, I searched for keyword release notes, and this is the information I got. At the end, if you had observed, there is also
a link.
We write long tail content. I mean, it's long page for us. But with voice, it may not be wise to read all the page content. It should read maybe a snippet of content, and then the rest of the information can be provided like this. Okay. So this is called multimodal, where voice and app can be interconnected. So you can see how we have used. I needed information for call out.
You mean to say voice and text, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So Alexa has an app. So is the case with Google Home.
Correct.
So in any additional information can be sent like this in the form of cards.
Okay.
Yeah. Shall we switch back to the presentation?
Ravi, there is only one more question, and that is a short question.
Yeah.
Slightly out of topics.
Okay.
How to choose a NLP algorithm and which open source machine learning and GPUs you suggest for a chatbot in general?
There's no answer to this from my side. It all depends on your business needs. It all depends on the analysis that you do as to which algorithm will better serve your use case. So there's no thumb rule or one black and white answer to this. You will have to research. There are a lot of algorithms you can. I mean, Alexa excels in some ways, and if you see, Google has its own pedigree. So each one has its own strengths, And Cortana, for example, for all office-related, professional setting related information, Cortana has an edge. I mean, so if the problem that you are solving is around, say, office use case, then yeah, this is what you can go with Cortana's algorithm.
Yeah, that's understood. Thank you, Ravi. So we can move with the topic.
Yes. Okay. So coming back, if you can see, there are 2, 3, and 4 here. Also, you would have noticed one is a Google Search API help. The other one is a Confluence Search API. So at the core of both is the custom search engine we created using Google CSC. So what we did, I have already explained. Since CA Technologies uses Confluence as CMS, we thought we should also extend that skill to the CMS. So in the back, we have the same Google search engine. So both do the same thing, but of course, uh, Google search can get information from multiple sources, whereas Confluence search will be limited to only one content source. Third one can have multiple content sources as plugins. Fourth one is just limited to Confluence. That's the only difference. Moving on, the fifth one is something that if someone wants help on MS, any of Microsoft Office applications, they just simply put the mouse and click F1. So that's how the context sensitive help comes into. So in the days to come, maybe each product would have a voice icon like this, and they are on, say, configuring a call out functionality, or they are performing a DB trimming functionality, or any other job. There can be a voice icon, and if an engineer or an administrator or a programmer, whosoever, if he wants to understand how that particular job can be performed, can click the voice icon on the product, and that would open the job, the voice help. And when I say voice help, it can also actually get videos and other rich media showed. There is a new gadget that Amazon launched. This is Echo Show. It also plays videos, and it also shows a lot of pictures. So that is something that I am currently working on. And these are the fifth and the sixth. Sorry, there's a typo. The fifth one is where actually I should say thanks to Nibu. Nibu posted that he was looking for some voiceover help. So since I was kind of neck deep, or working a lot on Alexa, I got this quick thought: why not use Alexa for voiceover? So I pinged him back. He sent me the text, and by creating a custom skill, please remember it's a custom skill. It doesn't come pre-built. I have created that custom skill and added the text that he would want Alexa to read, and then there you go. You have the voiceover for the video. I should say thanks to Nibu for triggering this idea. Is Nibu around?
Yeah, he's around. He's around.
Okay, cool. So yeah, actually I have recently submitted one innovation idea for Dockathon. That's our CA internal contest. And this automating voiceover actually has won an award. It has got a special mention because we have a rich media initiative at CA where we are creating videos and product tutorials. And the biggest pain we had was voiceover. And we have very few precious voiceover colleagues. We used to depend heavily on them. And believe me, one small video of 1.5 minutes or maybe 2 minutes would take 4 to 6 hours of voiceover time. Of course, we didn't want to go the Camtasia or the robotext way. We were kind of unhappy with the output we got. So that's when this text that we want as voiceover is plugged in to Alexa. Alexa has read that, and that is recorded in the form of an MP3. And using Camtasia or any other video creation tool, we have mapped that MP3 to the visuals. You won't believe the time that we saved for one video. The voiceover otherwise would take 4 to 6 hours. Now with this particular Alexa, it is taking less than 4 minutes. You won't believe, but that's a fact. So we have reduced the effort of this voiceover process and pain across our business unit. Right, and the last one is voice search engine optimization. You can call it VSEO. There are certain things that we need to do so that our content is findable on Google search. Bibhu, you asked Google for custom information, so it didn't respond. But if you ask Google, get me information from so-and-so site about so-and-so piece of information, it will surely give you that information.
Okay.
Okay. So you can say, you can try probably, you work for Nokia, right?
Dell. I work for Dell EMC.
Okay, great. Sorry. So Alex, okay, Google, get me information on whatever input string, okay, from Dell.com. Okay, maybe you can try. I'm sure Google will be able to help you with the information. So what I'm trying to say here is people are nowadays doing voice searches, and unless we customize our content to suit the voice paradigm, we will not be discovered using the voice. So your competitors will be discovered, and that's a great loss as well. Okay, some of the simple things we did was what I was talking about. We introduced the speakers at the regional conference where it introduced and the speaker, it made some announcements. So these are some smaller minor tweaks we could do to solve these needs of that particular hour. And this particular video where Alexa was introducing the speaker went viral. I was happily surprised that more than 2,400 people watched that video in just 36 hours. I mean, 1.5 day, almost 2,000 plus visits have happened. It's kind of got me crazy. So the final thoughts, the demo I have already taken you through. So these are some general examples I was talking about. So the green ones are do's, the red ones are don'ts. So if your customer says book a table, the Alexa will say, sorry, I didn't get that. I didn't understand. So instead, it can see how it is driving the conversation. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that, but I can place orders for delivery or pickup. Which one would you like to do? So what it is doing is, whenever it doesn't have an answer, it is taking the control. It is driving the conversation in a guided manner. So it's saying that it can't help with that particular request, but at the same time, it is saying it can place the orders. Right. This is how error handling can be done. Then whenever there's a choice, you can choose from the following application servers and the list. If you see, there is no choice option provided in the don't, the black color. See the one above. Here are the available options. Which one do you want? So that's how the conversation is progressively guided. And I was talking about setting the expectations. Alexa, open my skill. What would you like to do? If Alexa or Google Assistant says this, customer would go crazy and he won't understand what that skill is going to do. Instead, welcome to my skill. Looks like this is your first visit. I am your product experience assistant. I can help you with so and so. You can ask for help. So you are setting the expectations clearly. Yeah, this. So just check this, the pizza example again. We have different sizes. And again, there is no prompting given at the end of the list. The second one, the black colored don't, it gives all the options, but it doesn't take any input from the customers. It's not guiding the conversation. It's not progressing. All right. So yes, this is the last slide we have here. So the key takeaways, if you ask me, what you should do, you have to give voice a thought, think how it can be incorporated in your business requirements, especially from tech writing side. Always start very small, try, test, do the pilot, see the traction, and then you can scale it. And why not? I mean, if we don't try that, remember the textual searches are going to be history, user interfaces are going to be history. So we will really have to struggle helping the customer. So I sincerely suggest give voice a thought and identify a very small use case, as small as troubleshooting or debugging one particular component. Then from component, go to the larger, say, product. From product, go to the solution, the suite of products. So you have to gradually increase the challenge for voice assistants. Don't try to do everything at once. So experience, voice is going to turn around the experience part. Customers are going to love it because of its ease. And when the experience is such fulfilling, such satisfying, people will come back, people will use your product, people will buy your product, renew your product. So experience is everything in this world. So we need to spend our time in delivering the superior customer experience. Of course, there are a lot of resources I have gone through, but some of the important ones I tried to place here. This book by Kathy Pearl is extremely useful. There are a lot of videos on Google site as well, YouTube. You can just get started. These can be your starting points. And Bibhu, any more questions? Hello? Any questions, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I put it in mute and I was telling. Sorry. So, guys, any questions? We also have Nibu as a panelist. So, if you'd like to put some thoughts.
Vibhu, did you unmute people?
Participants can't tell anything.
Okay, okay. Maybe they can type in at least.
Yeah, they can type. They can type.
Hey, Ravi, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, very
I
much.
can hear you.
Yeah, good session, Ravi. One more question that I had is, can you tell us something about, creating these skills? Some information about creating these skills. How long did it take, and how did you go about, creating the specific skill, specifically about the problem that we solved?
Right. Okay. I attended this Alexa Dev Days hosted at Bangalore. That's the starting point, I would say. Before attending that, I was thinking I am a tech writer. I am not so very good at coding. I will not be able to create a skill. That was my thought. That boot camp, Alexa Dev Days boot camp, has changed that perception. It has given me confidence. It has given me the right kind of information and the resources, uh, uh, whereby I started thinking more like a developer. I mean, we as writers are very good with this conversational flow, but to be able to uh, create that codes, and then when you run into issues, uh, it required some amount of learning of Node.js. I would say at a very naive level, I could dabble with Node.js. There were some errors that I could fix myself. Of course, but I had to depend heavily on the engineering friends wherever I couldn't. So I would say for folks on this call, there are great resources available on Alexa Developers YouTube channel. And I was also posting these resources here. You can try these resources. Thinking with Google design guidelines, and then you have Amazon developer checklists and other. Lot of information is available. Nibu, actually, only thing is you'll have to explore, research, be a little mad, and take things to a closure.
So if I were to ask you, would you have been able to create the skill without attending the?
It could be possible if you have that little hands-on knowledge of coding in Node.js. Interesting thing I want to share here is Alexa has a lot of pre-built functions, so which are more like templates, and you can take the template and customize it to your business need. So you'll have to have at least that level of custom tweaking and tuning the templates.
Okay, so when you actually created that piece of voice, right? Did you actually tweak it further, or was it a natural? Was it a single output that you got?
It was a single output, but there are ways in which you can further tweak the tone and tenor of the voice as well. There are speech, synthesizer markup language, SSML. You can actually get Alexa to speak in angry tone, in a whispering tone. So you can actually tweak, use those speech cons. They're called speech cons. So that's another thing we can do if there are some dramatics involved. Say when we want Alexa to narrate a bedtime story, so you can add those effects also.
Or do the dialogues for Bahubali.
Oh yeah, Mahendra Bahubali. Yes, why not?
Yeah, no, because we really struggle with the text to speech in Adobe. Even though we are able to insert, a delay and to slow down the speech rate and stuff like that, it's nowhere near natural. So what you were able to do with Alexa is really a big leap.
Yeah. Thanks to be, I told you, I think you were there when I mentioned that particular thought was actually triggered by your post on WhatsApp. I was not thinking that, Alexa could be useful for voiceover. It did. Of course, we can actually take it to next level as well, Nibu, with voice cons and other intonation variations.
Okay.
And the version I shared was more US English. Right now, it offers at least 5 variations of English: UK, US, Indian, Canadian, Australian. So in case you want to customize your voiceover to a particular demography, that also can be done.
Can we take Alexa to the level that it can do the job of an MC that we require in our annual conference?
Why not? Absolutely.
Nebu, we should think of this.
I already actually pinged him.
About this?
Something like this.
Great. We have one more question.
Please shoot it.
Amazon Polly, does it work in a similar way like Alexa?
Yeah, actually, Polly also is a great resource for voiceovers. Nibu, this is something that you and not just Nibu, anybody who wants help with voiceover can explore this AWS Polly. It also comes with a lot of variations, different genders. It's also a great tool.
Yeah, so one more question that I had was, so you said that you were able to bring down the time by 99%.
Absolutely, yeah.
So could you...
Right. I'll tell you like this. You imagine you wrote the script for voiceover. You have the screen, you have the storyboarding, everything, right? So once you are good to go with your script, just give the text to Alexa as an input. Okay. All you need to do is play it once. If it is 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 80 seconds, that's all the time it takes. Right. But there is a catch here. To be able to reach that, you have to create a custom skill. That custom skill, you will say, Alexa, I created one reader skill, Nibu. The reader skill is, I will launch Alexa, and the Alexa will have to code this text as input, and Alexa will start reading that. We have another voice recorder in another hand, and then you have the MP3 ready. So if you have a textual string for 80 seconds, that's the exact amount it's going to take.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by 99%.
Okay.
So what was taking 4 to 6 hours previously is done in as bare minimum 3 minutes, 2 minutes.
Okay.
And I have a question. Can we have a log But, say an example, like we are talking about in technical writing, the user generated content, right? We are giving some option for the user to put their comments, their feedback, and based on the feedback, we are again improving our content. So
Right.
I think we can do that as well in a better way with this kind of apps, right?
You are talking about curation.
Yeah. So based on the questions being asked by the user, we can again improvise it, and we can have an analytics which will study the more number of questions being asked and then less number of questions being asked, and then the writers can again work on that. Something like that. Is that possible?
It is quite possible, but it may require a lot of coding effort as well.
All right.
Bibu, with so many tools and technologies, nothing is impossible, man. Everything can be done. Given you spend time, you get the right coder. Yeah, you have your problem business case. Then there you go. You have a solution.
Yeah.
Of
Correct.
course, scaling is a challenge. Solving is not.
True. Yeah. So any more questions, folks? It's
Any-
already 9, and we don't have any more questions.
Anything from chat?
No, I'm taking all the questions. So all the questions have been taken care.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you so much, Ravi, for enlightening us in such a new trending technology. I'm sure none of us except Nibu, or I don't know if there's someone among the participants who has worked on this. I haven't done anything on this. I just work the Google Assistants. Thank you so much for such a enlightening session. Thank you so much. Thanks all the participants for your time. And I know it's Friday, the actual time to have fun.
Yeah, I hope we all had quality fun on this Friday. Thank you
Yes.
all for your time. I hope your Friday evening is not wasted.
No, learning is fun. Learning
That,
is fun.
yes.
And particularly learning such kind of trending technology. And when we have the Alexa man Ravi from Hyderabad, you should not tell the word waste.
Yeah, I am glad I could be of help.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks again, Technorites. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you all. You have a great weekend.